Hey, Facebook family. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I have an interesting topic today. For any of you out there who are judgers, me included, I've been having some powerful distinctions around this grief work. This grief work, this men's work, this inner child work. It's all the same thing. It's all looking at self. It's all coming back to who we are as ourself. So today's topic that I want to share is for all you judgers out there, me included. For all you judgers, I want to bring up the conversation and the question and the insight and the acknowledgement that it's not them, it's you. And what I'm discovering from this deep inner work, the deeper and deeper I go, is it works like this. It's kind of like when something happens outside of us. And first of all, I guess I see a lot of friends joining. What's up, my friends? What's up, the love? I see the hearts and the loves. Awesome. My question is, how do you know, like, has anybody ever judged? Have any of you ever judged before? Have you judged a friend? Have you judged yourself? Have you judged somebody's done something to you? You get angry at them. You've judged their habits. You've judged their behavior. You've judged what they're doing with their life. You've judged, man, there's so much that we judge. You judge their money. If they make more money than you judge them because they have money. If they don't have money, we judge them because they don't have money. I mean, I think the whole industry of these TV shows is also people can look at other people whose lives don't feel as worse as their lives, and we feel better about ourselves because we can judge them. Well, look at their life. Their life's better than my life, so I can feel better about the challenges I'm having in my life. So it's this whole, I want to bring up the conversation of judgment, and there's definitely there's not like it's one way, right or wrong. There's value to judgment. There's value into knowing our preferences and what, where the line is for us. But the conversation that I would like to bring up is, it's not them, it's you, meaning majority of the time, and listen to me here, this is interesting, you tell me if it's true. You choose, you feel into this, let me know if it resonates with you. If it does, I'd love to know how it resonates. But feel into this. When something's happening and you feel the judgment, what the judgment actually is, it's protection, right? The judgment is protection. And if there's energy or there's charge, if there's emotion there, what that energy or that charge is it's the part in us that we're not wanting to love. It's the part of ourself that we're not being patient with. It's the part of ourself that we're angry with. It's the part of ourself that we're jealous that we didn't have something different. So whatever that emotion is, and I'll give you a context. I had some different people in my life that were showing up, stepping into their career, and I would judge myself, compare myself to them and say, man, how are they there? They're there and I'm here. And I would get into a comparison place. And as soon as I'm in that comparison place, I'm judging them. I'm already in head. And what it really is I'm not wanting to feel the parts of me that I'm judging about me and about where I'm at, about what's going on with me. So the same thing, can you think of a time in your life? Think of something right now. We all are judgers. I would say we're all judgers, or most people are. Think of something you're judging. And I want you to feel that for a moment. Maybe think of an area where you feel not enough. Maybe you think you should be somewhere where you're not. Maybe you see somebody that has money and they're different than you. Maybe you see somebody that doesn't have money. Maybe you see somebody that's at a different weight. They're overweight and you judge them, or they're ripped and you judge them. Maybe you think of somebody who has a lot of family. Maybe you judge because they have all this family. Maybe you judge other people for being alone and not having any family. Maybe look at another area where it feels like somebody has a lot and you feel like you have a little. Or the vice versa. So maybe it's a personality. Maybe a personality comes at you and it feels naggy. You ever have a nagging personality where they're like, hey, and that you judge them for nagging you? Maybe you have somebody who feels really needy and you judge them for being needy. Maybe you have somebody who doesn't communicate with you, who disrespects you, who disconnects. You judge them for disconnecting. So maybe you have an energy in your life or a person in your life who betrays you, or you feel like doesn't honor their word, or whatever this energy is. So the conversation I'm wanting to bring out, hey friends, I see some comments of friends. What's up, Tony? Yeah, I totally agree. This is the whole point of the conversation, is the minute I'm judging them, I can't be present with me. The minute I'm shaming myself, I'm already in my head, I'm already disconnected. I'm running to cover up what I'm not wanting to feel. And so essentially, this conversation is for all the judgers. The next time you observe yourself in judgment, or right now, if you've observed a judgment, I want you to just take a moment. Where are you at with judgment? Feel into it. Is judgment in the heart? Do you feel like deeply connected to your heart? Do you feel love and compassion for this person or what's going on? Or is it more head energy? Just feel into it for a second. Go back to the moment. Think of a moment when you've judged somebody. Think of it could be anything, and it's okay. It's okay. You get permission right now to judge, so go ahead and judge. Bring out that judger. I know you got the judger in you. Bring that out, and just for a moment, I want you to go into the judger. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to go in. Think of somebody else. Think of a situation you didn't approve of, you didn't like. They had more money, they didn't have enough money. Whatever it was, even if you judged yourself, allow yourself to sit with it for a moment. And when you're judging that person, are you in here or are you in here? Feel. Is it here or here? What would be the distinctions of judgment? For me, what comes up with judgment is I start to play stories, future-paced stories of what's happening now, where it could be, what happened in the past, what happens in the future. It's this whole game of past, future, head energy. It's not in the present moment. I'm not connected to feeling me. I'm not connected to feeling my heartbeat. I'm not connected to feeling the wind. I'm not connected to feeling the oxygen fill my lungs. I'm not connected to how I feel in the moment. Do I feel enough? Do I feel happy? Do I feel grateful? Do I feel disconnected? Or am I so caught up in this past, present, future from judging somebody else so harshly, I'm up here. So what I'd like to invite you is, for all you judgers, me included, this is what's bringing me so much peace. I'm finding in the uncovering, the unraveling of our resistance to ourself. And here's where it gets tricky. This is where it's scary. This is where I'm finding a lot of men have resistance to go do the work. A lot of women have resistance. A lot of humans, we naturally resist doing what's uncomfortable. But what I'll say is, give yourself a chance to be at peace. And give yourself a chance to be at peace by having the courage to, the next time you observe yourself in judgment, instead of judging it, because what happens is we're in judgment, and then we judge us for being in judgment. Can anybody relate? It's like, oh, I'm judging them. Oh my God, I shouldn't judge them. I'm such a bad person. I'm a bad person for judging them. So then what's happening is we're in this whole mental game of judging them, judging us, judging this whole thing. But what is it? It's a game in here. I'm stuck in my head. I'm blocked in my head in this game of emotion, of pain, pleasure, all this stuff. Really, I can't feel the moment. I can't feel the heart. I can't feel the present moment of what it feels like. So if somebody I love is in front of me, I can't look at them and say, I love you. I can't connect and reach out and connect. I can't connect with myself. So and I love all the likes and hearts. Sounds like there's a lot of resonance here with you, friends. So the next time you feel the judger come out, the key is have compassion for the judger. Realize if your judger's out, there's something you're protecting. There's a part of yourself that is wounded, and that's how you're protecting yourself. It's a part of yourself that, because when we do that, we get to go here. We don't have to feel what we're really feeling. I can feel safe out here and judge them. I can get it away from me. But what I'm discovering is, as we start to move it in, we start to have more compassion, and we start to be gentler. Like, oh, if I'm judging them, let me be gentle. What's here? How do I feel? How do I not get so preoccupied in my mind of running and avoiding and staying up here? How do I drop in? How do I feel? Judgment's protecting. What is it protecting? And let me feel what that energy is. And 9 times out of 10, there's a feeling of lack. There's a feeling of not enough. There's a feeling of, call it our core wound. As children, we go through life and we come out innocent. Think about it for a minute. We go through life. Imagine you're this child. You come out of the womb. You're innocent. I mean, anybody ever? I mean, you may have children now and be seeing this. Everything's new. Everything you're learning, hearing. I mean, you can give a kid a little box in the beginning, and they're happy just playing in the box. So as children, we're looking at life, and we're just like, oh, life is so beautiful, so brilliant. And then wham, this perfect picture that life was perfect gets ruined. Something happens. We're not. Our friends put us down and attack us for what we thought was our natural truth and light. They attacked, and then we go, oh, I got to cover up. Or our parents get divorced, and all of a sudden we're triggered thinking, oh, there's this perfect picture of a perfect family that I see on every TV screen. And boom, the parents are divorced. And you're going, I don't have a perfect family anymore. Or I don't feel love for my father because I thought I got love for my father. I didn't have love for my mother, or whatever our story is. Or maybe it was rape, or maybe you had some big tragedy that happened. And so whatever this is, what I'm finding is we never got a chance to be with that child in us. We never got a chance to accept that child because we've had grief labeled as wrong. Our whole life we've been taught, get over it, handle up. And I'm not saying to wallow in it. That's not the reason at all. There's a different energy of being present, of feeling what's going on than wallowing, right? What is wallow? To me, wallow is back in the head. Oh my God, life is so bad, right? Right? When we're wallowing in it, when we're stuck in story, we're not in our heart, we're in our head. So you can tell yourself that you're sitting in emotion and sitting feeling the pain. Really, you're not. You're in your head again, back in the judgment story, back in the head of what's going on here. To truly be in your heart, it takes feeling. When you feel, you're grounded, and then it's more density. Oh, this feels heavy. Oh, this feels thick. Oh, there's a part of me that feels painful. Let me describe that density. Let me feel that density. Oh, part of me feels really alone right now. Right? That's humility. That's compassion. That's humanity. That's your humanness. That's the part of you that makes you alive as a human, is the ability to feel the depth of your humanity, which is the depths of sadness and remorse and pain and struggle when something we love is taken from us. That fucking sucks. And we get to grieve those pains. Excuse my language, but man, we've limited ourselves from feeling the depth of that pain, and we make it wrong. We judge ourselves for it. And so what I'm about is like, how do we accept that we go through life and we're going to have love and we're going to have loss? And how do we allow ourselves to be present and feel all of it? Feeling is in the heart. Feeling is in the body. Feeling is here. And I'll tell you what, we've been taught it's wrong, so we run from it. So what I'd like to say is that judger, what it is that you protecting your heart. That judger makes it really safe to be up here in your head and not to feel whatever you don't want to feel. That shamer in you, that guilter in you, that judger in you, all those things are protecting you from the deepest parts of yourself that hurt, that feel painful. And we've been taught not to feel those because everybody in our environment doesn't want to feel those. So everybody's been running, and as everybody's been running, we've been trying to protect everybody else from feeling that pain, which the pain is what will set us free. It's not the pain of wallowing in it. It's not the pain of the story of poor me. It's the story of feeling for that moment, having the courage to stand in a moment of utter sadness and pain and struggle and strife and whatever the hell is going on in your life. Like I think we're awakening as humans. We're awakening to who we truly are. And when we step into that, we want to become it. And there's religion. People find religion and they find peace in religion. They find peace in owning their sexuality, whatever that is, heterosexual, bi, homosexual, whatever it is. They discover this is who I am, and they come out with the world, yes, and then they're shamed. And that part of us is really hurt because this is my core wound. This is who I am. And instead of embracing that, we're judged. So a lot of times we hold back and protect ourselves. And then we wonder why we're judging them because we've been attacked. And really the truth is the only reason we were judged in the first place is because somebody else was covering up their wounds. Somebody else didn't want to feel their child inside that was hurt. And somebody was different, and it felt good to put them down. It's just like these shows that I talk about. So many shows, we look at the shows and we feel better about ourselves because somebody has a tough life. And somebody puts somebody else down, in a moment they feel momentarily better because they're like, see, look at them, I feel better. But really, they're covering up that part of them that feels hurt, that feels painful, that's struggling. So today's message is really about, be gentle with your judger. Find a way to recognize when the judger in you comes out, when the shamer in you comes out, when the guilter in you comes out, you're covering up something that you need to feel. And when you're in that, you're already in your head. And when you're in your head, you're not in the present moment. The present moment has no pain, pleasure. It just is. It just is the moment. So if we can catch ourselves in that moment, be gentle, be compassionate with ourselves, drop into our heart, allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling, and describe it with the density. Describe the feelings as like texture, right? Oh, it feels dense. Oh, it feels thick. I feel it in my belly. It feels heavy. It feels slow, like molasses. I'm moving through molasses. These aren't stories. This happened to me, that happened to me, this happened to me. This is just feeling what that energy is in our body. And as we allow ourselves to feel into the body and give it a voice, acknowledge it, we don't need to go into the head, into the whole stories. It allows us just to feel it, be present for a minute, and then it moves through us. It's almost like I'm discovering through these men's retreats, through the work I'm doing on myself, a lot of the stuff that I spent all my time learning was how to fix my judger. And what I found is it only made me more of a judger. I used more pain, more pleasure. I used all this stuff to try to get me to, because it used to be in order to get a result, humans do things to avoid pain or gain pleasure. Avoid pain, gain pleasure. See if I can get my hands in here. The challenge becomes if you're trying to get yourself to make a change by reframing what you see as pain and pleasure, a lot of times what that brings is shame. So we shame ourselves if we do something that we think is wrong. And what happens with shame is we get stuck in this loop. All those energies are here. So what I'm discovering, and I'm just wanting to share it with you because it's bringing me peace. So I'll tell you, I have more peace now than I've ever had. I'll tell you this, and it's really deep and authentic. If I were to leave this planet, I would feel at peace, which I could have never said before. I feel like I have so much to do and so much to accomplish, and I still do, but I feel like I have the courage to stand in the pain. I have the courage to stand in this moment, and as I do, as I face the things that I never wanted to face, I'm doing things to set myself free. I'm living, I'm practicing being more human. And as I practice being more human, life gets a lot more full. I feel alive again. And it's not avoiding. I think everybody's so focused on avoiding pain. They want happiness. What I'm discovering is it's not even, for me, it's not true. For me, what I'm discovering is the depth, the void always shows up. So if my whole premise is built on wanting to feel happy, and the way life is set up, it's kind of like there's the sun and then there's the moon, and then there's the sun and then there's the moon. Like there's light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. We're a sun moving through space. If you think about it, we're on Earth moving through space like this. I mean, we're a big piece of rock moving through space, thousands of miles an hour, how fast we're going. And every day as we move around, we see the sun and then we see dark. So what I feel like is every time we go into the void, which is another word for we feel pain, we feel struggle, we feel depression, we feel whatever, what I'm finding is that's part of so here's how it all ties together. This is interesting, and I'm discovering it, and I'm sharing my discoveries with you. So our core wound is children. That moment when we saw life the way it was, something happens outside of us to change it forever. To me, that was part of God, if you will, God's divine will, informing us how we were going to be formed. With that formation, it's what creates the dark and the light. So the part of us that's always going to struggle our life with this part of ourself is what happened at that breaking point, at that moment of, call it the wounded child. There's a lot of words for it. The wounded child, the part of us when life changed forever that we're healing from, that part never goes away. It gets expressed in different areas. So if we acknowledge that and we feel that and we anticipate it and we're present with it, then when it shows up, it's not like, oh my God, this again, I got to get back to happiness. And then our whole dramas and stress and avoidance and numbing and all this stuff we're doing is to try to get away from what is and what's always going to be there and what's never going to go away. And it's going to be there again and again and again and again and again. So why are we running? Why are we constantly doing everything we can to not be present with us, ourselves? So I think the message or this energy is really, I want to hold a gentle space for you to be present with you. I want to create the space for you to drop into your heart to be okay with you, whether you're feeling heavy, whether you're feeling light. Be okay with you no matter what shows up in your life, that you're able to be present with self. And somebody has a different belief, a different religion, a different sexuality, whatever they have out here, how do we get the place within ourselves where we have peace no matter what somebody is and no matter what somebody says, no matter if it's an agreement or disagreement or above us or below us or whatever that is, how are we just at peace? How are we at peace through all of it? And that's what I'm finding through this deep courage, this deep work, this deep healing work, and the willingness to go into the resistance, the willingness to go into the areas that most of us for good reason don't want to go into, and not with the mindset of fixing anything, with the ability of love, like pure love. Like, man, how do I just love what is? How do I love all the parts of myself that I've been running from? How do I be more at peace with loving those parts of myself that feel resistance, that feel broken, that feel shut down? How do I just keep loving them? And what I'm finding is I feel at peace. And there's days that it's heavy and there's days that it's light, and it just keeps cycling. So this message is really for all the judgers. The next time you feel judgment, just recognize it's you, and you're trying to protect yourself. And I would say, how do you be a little bit gentler with yourself? Doesn't mean you have to let people in. I'm not by any means saying, let me break down all the walls. And, there's definitely boundaries that's healthy to have. You know who you are, what your boundaries are, what's going to serve you. It's just more the emotional response you have when something happens, when you feel judgment. How can you be a little bit gentler with the self and feel what you need and give yourself that and allow yourself to be in a place where you're not affected by, you're just allowed to go through life and be at peace. And if something happens, you feel that. Give yourself the gift of feeling, and I guarantee you it'll set you free. It'll give you a sense of aliveness you've never felt. And have the courage, have the strength to know that beyond the heaviness, there'll be another light. You know, beyond whatever you're going through, it'll get brighter again. But just a message for the day. I love you all so much. I'm really, again, wanting to just continue to share what sets me free and gives me peace, and the distinctions I'm making real time with you, in hopes that it helps you. So I'm wishing everybody a beautiful day, and we'll talk soon.